Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. And if it's your first time, thank you for checking me out, checking out my channel. I don't do too many videos of myself, so you have a hard time checking me out. Today, we're looking at the Proline trencher in G8 compound. Trenchers are a tire that's been out for a while that people seem to have a love-hate relationship with. I've never driven them, so I have no idea what to expect. This set is a lightly used set of trenchers I traded for these tires, but they're not overly scrubbed in, they're not overly used. Today inside the trenchers we are running a GTR RC dual stage foam. Ooh, lots of side slide right there from the trencher. Let's see if we can recover a little bit, taking that low line. Typically we do slide a little bit more on the low side, but that rear end, really there's just a crack in the rock holding it up. Yeah, there's some slide. Now we need to turn up as we reposition on the side hill, and we pick that passenger side front up as we go through this crack and we roll off. Not 100% due to tire there, a little bit due to me not being careful enough with the steering and throttle. No collapse from those dual stage foams. We'll give the trenchers another shot at that low line. GTR RC foams are very similar to the Tim 10 phones from Amazon that you've heard me talk about in the past. What is a Tim 10 phone? Well, a Tim 10 foam is basically a cheaper version of a Proline dual stage foam. It's not as good as like a Crawler Innovations foam, but it does have a closed cell inner foam and open cell outer foam. And quite honestly, the CI foams give you more tunability. I think the foam quality is better, but the Tim 10s are good enough in most cases. However, the Tim 10s have been hard to come by in the last 6 months, and by hard to come by, I basically mean impossible to find. But recently, these GTR RC foams have popped up on Amazon, and aside from the color difference, the Tim 10s are a blue inner and a white outer. These are a red inner and a green outer. Aside from that, they honestly seem to be identical. So there will be a link to those in the description. If they're still available, pick yourself up a set. I will say, if the Tim 10s taught me anything, it's that they go fast. So, you know, buy the number that you want while you can get them. Trenchers, not doing too great on the side hill. Quite a bit more side slide than I like to see. I think we are going to get the pivot. I think we're going to get the turn up. So overall, I think we're going to be able to do our obstacle, but definitely not the best. Yeah, there we go. And so from what I've heard about the trencher, this is kind of the complaint, is inconsistent performance. It seems like some people think that they're great and that they work really well, and maybe they're one of their favorite tires, and other people think that they're one of Proline's worst tires. So I don't know what to expect. As you know, I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of Proline, although quite frankly that has more to do with a issue I have with Horizon Hobby and an issue I have with the prices of Proline products than it does the quality. And as you know, we run G8 out here because we run on sandstone. The majority of the year we run in warmer temperatures. And although I will accept a tire that tread wears quickly, Predator compound just seems to rip. And so I have a really hard time paying $33 for 2 tires in Predator that are going to probably tear on me within 10 hours of use. So I don't run Predator unless I get them for free. So I have one set of Predator tires that I traded for. Technically, I guess I didn't get those for free. And they have a few rips in them. I knew about that when I traded for them. So I got to fix those rips. And you'll see those in an upcoming video. They are the Swamper. Coming up to our second obstacle. For me, it is November 11th, 2005, which is Veterans Day. So if you served in our military, or even if you're police or fire, a veteran of one of those departments, any first responders, military veterans, thank you for your service. Thank you for what you do for our country. Thank you for keeping us comfortable and free so that we can come out to a state park and drive tiny trucks on the rocks. Definitely going to have to use some wheel speed to get up here. As I've shown with this obstacle, it is a little bit more to it than just being steep. We get up off this first rock onto the second. There's a pretty big drop there, and that rear passenger tire likes to get down in that gap, and then we have grip underneath and behind it, and so it likes to try to pitch us over backwards. So this isn't only about forward drive and grip. This is also just about technical kind of lug design and technical driving. And most tires, almost all tires, have had to bump just like that. Nothing crazy, just a little blip of the throttle to keep us out of that little crevice. But as I was saying, today's November 11th of 2005. You are probably watching this in either February or March. I don't yet have it uploaded, so I don't know when I'm going to schedule it for, but you're watching this in February and March of 2026, most likely, as that's when it was released. Because we are staging content to get us through the winter. And Tire Rack is going to be getting us some upgrades throughout the winter. So currently, we are running a Fusion Pro 2300 kV motor on 3S at the time of filming, but at the time of viewing, Tire Rack will actually have a Holmes 2-in-1 1800 kV motor running on 4S. That is the magic of internet time. Been out here shooting videos for a couple hours now. The wind finally seems to be dying down. The temperature's picking up a little. We are coming into good push up on there. Some tires tend to struggle with the lip of that obstacle. We're dealing with awkward November temperatures. Yesterday the high was 41. Today the high is 65. So that's just how Kansas is in the fall. But because we had a cold front come through, followed by a warm front coming through, had some heck of wind last night and this morning, and it finally seems to be dying down. So I am thankful for that. Because quite honestly, I'd rather be out here in below zero temperatures than be out here when it's windy. If it's below zero, but it's still, I'll take that over 60 degrees and windy. Now, when you get real hot, I like some wind because it's hot. But for times like this, it sure is nice to have not so much wind. But I think we are getting to the point to where I'm going to have to take my jacket off after this video. Got to be coming up on noon here pretty quickly. So yeah, it's 11:45 right now. So I bet you we're getting close to 60 degrees, which for some of you, depending on where you live, that might sound downright cold. But you know, here we get 110 degree days sometimes in summer. We usually get about a month of solid 95 plus weather. And then in winter, we usually get a solid month-ish of freezing and below, or right around freezing, like 34. and below. So we get all the temperatures here in Kansas. But most of the year, we are 70 and above. Sometimes that above is just miserable, though. Yeah, let's talk about the trencher for a minute, shall we? So far, other than the side hill, I haven't really had any issues with it. Forward drive seems to be adequate so far. We're coming up on a couple obstacles here in just a minute that'll kind of really give us a better idea of their forward drive and their grip. Ugh. I'm to the point now this obstacle needs to be repaired. So the nosedive off here is normal, but we've kind of got a divot formed down there. So the rig rolls out when it previously didn't. I'm gonna see if I can't fix that real fast. I see where we might have a problem. We won't drive down that again right now, but we'll see if that becomes less of an issue in the future. Again, nosediving off there is pretty normal with a class 2 tire, just because of the tire size, but what we usually like to see is having enough control and grip in those rear tires to allow us to nosedive slowly and then kind of gently set the rig back down. Sorry about my shadow being in the shot. The sun will be out of our way here in the next couple hours, but this is really the only place I have to stand to record this obstacle. And be able to see enough to drive it. All right. Maybe I can move right here. There we go. That'll work well enough. Can the trencher slow walk this guy? I don't think so. I need to quit obsessing over slow walking it, because it's not the point. The point is to hook our side lug and use the side lug to help us walk up the obstacle. All right. Able to come up and get the hook. Now, the trencher does not have a very pronounced side lug. There's not much side lug to this tire. So right now we're pretty much using sidewall, and that GTR RC foam, that firm inner closed cell foam, really helping us there. Yeah, trencher's not having issues. Not able to slow walk this obstacle like the best tires can, but it's not really the point of the obstacle, so that's not something that counts against them. Kind of having some issues getting turned around here. Part of this might be because I'm driving from a little bit different position than I usually do and can't see quite as well. Let's go back over here. We might have a rollout coming here because I'm not really positioned right. I think we'll be able to get it. Well, nope, that's what I was okay, maybe. We'll see. If we roll out, it's because of me. Yeah, we're fine. And we'll come down here and turn around for our diff hang-up obstacle, where we hang our rear diff, hang the pumpkin on purpose, and we see if the front tires have the juice to pull us off. But doing so requires getting up onto the obstacle first. There we go. All right, now rear diff hang up now. Well, no hang up. There we go. Yeah, that's not bad. That's pretty good, really. Alrighty. Coming up to our steep hill climb. Ooh, good pull, good slow walk. I tell you, trencher's not doing bad. Very much a lug design that reminds me of like a J-Concept Scorpio. And although when I did the Scorpio review, I don't think that my insert choice was the best. Ouch. because I did dual stage inserts on those. This tire is kind of making me want to redo the Scorpios with a foam and see how they compare, because right now I would say in terms of lug design, the Scorpio and Trencher are pretty similar, and right now the Trencher really, it's kind of wiping the floor with the Scorpios. And I gotta tell you, on a personal level, I don't like to see that. I'd rather see the J Concepts tire do better. But, you know, sometimes we gotta face reality. Wow, these leaves are making it hard to find some of my lines on the trail obstacles. We'll come back here next time. I'll probably be out here again next week. And if I am, I'm bringing a leaf blower with me. Last obstacle is a loose gravel hill climb. It's been a little more challenging today than usual because of the leaves, especially once we get to this last quarter of it. They're somewhat deep. I've brushed these off once today already. They just keep falling. So right now we're dealing with gravel and leaves. But you know, you get through the leaves pretty quickly to the gravel, so the leaves don't make it undoable. They just kind of possibly make it take a little bit longer. But with the trenchers, especially in those leaves, having to resort to wheel speed to get up. But we didn't have to peg the throttle, nothing too crazy. That's a pretty good job. So how do we feel about trenchers? Well, as I always tell you, if somebody bases their entire opinion of a tire from 10 minutes of driving it, it's probably not the most valid experience. There are exceptions. Sometimes you can just tell a tire is awful in a short amount of time. The time that I've spent with the trenchers, going on 18 minutes, is the entirety of the time that I've spent with the trenchers. I've never driven them before today. I've never had any more experience with them. And so far, I gotta say, I'm in the trencher camp. Aside from side hill performance, these did very, very well. Side hilling wasn't excellent. They slid more sideways than I prefer a tire to do. That is because of lug design. That is extremely common when you have a small lug like this that's kind of tightly packed together. That's just the nature of a lug like this. So side hilling isn't going to be premium, but side hilling isn't everything. And my side hill obstacle is harder than a lot. This course as a whole is a pretty easy course. It's meant to be completable by a mostly RTR rig running some RTR tires. That's deliberate, but the side hill obstacle with the pocketing and the cracks and everything, it's also a pretty steep side hill. It's a challenging obstacle, and the trenchers are bested by a lot of tires there, but everything else they did very well at, and definitely enough to where I would run them more. You know, I'm not gonna say that they're a tire I love based off of driving them for 20 minutes, but I think you'll see them again. I'm curious enough to where I think you'll see them again. They did well with these foams in them. I think it's a good foam choice. I probably won't run different foams in them. I may run them on a different beadlock that has a little bit wider track width to see if that can't help with the side hilling. But other than that, so far they're pretty good. I like them. I'm gonna run them up against Scorpios. I'm gonna put a set of these same foams in a set of Scorpios, and I might do a side-by-side comparison of them. But so far, yeah, I don't love Proline, but I kind of like the trencher. Till next time, everybody, have a good day.